And I saw this rant from Ice Cube. And I remembered because Ice Cube was wearing a hat or shirt that said Big Three, he's the commissioner of the 3-on-3 league, the Big Three. It kind of got a little uncomfortable. Here was his social media post from this weekend.
Ever since I put out the contract with Black America, they've been with me. Here and there, this and that. But it's cool, I expect that. I've been working with, on the Big Three for a long time. And you know how they've been with me with that. I done made it plain, simple, and clear what they've been doing. The NBA been with us. Now, a lot of people might say, like, well, but Cube, you want to work with the NBA. Really, I don't give a about working with the NBA. What I want them to do when I say work with us is to stop working against us. Stop doing that behind the scenes that we know you're doing. Mainstream media, they ain't with us. And that's cool. We can do it ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess what he's asking is why, first, why does the NBA not want us to succeed? Secondly, why don't we cover him? And we would be considered mainstream media or the sports centers of the world. Like, this is an honest question. Monsi, do you know what the Big Three is?
No, not even a little. All right,
it's okay.
What?
Ramos, you know what the Big Three is?
I do, and I have a question. But I'll wait till you go through everybody if you want.
No,
like
can you name
Miami?
I can't name. No, I've
can you
seen
name a player?
Probably not. No.
Jay Stu?
Does Ice Cube play?
No. He doesn't.
No, I'm aware of it, and I know that our own Ryan Hollins, I think, has played in it the last couple of years. I don't know if he's in it now.
It used to be on Fox, and that's the only reason we used to talk about it. Right? What he has to understand is, and I actually, there are lots of people who are like, well, why does ESPN talk about the WNBA? Because they have the WNBA on their network. Right? And if it gets one person to watch that has a ratings box, all the better for everybody. I actually understand that. We do it at Fox, right? People are, they talked about the Belmont Stakes, but nobody cares about the Belmont Stakes when the Kentucky Derby winner didn't win the first two. Why do they do it? Because we paid a lot of money for it. So if his pushback is, well, why isn't anybody talking about this? Well, what networks are you on? You're on CBS Sports Network. I'm sure there's promotions on CBS or CBS Sports Network. Why doesn't the NBA want to help you? Because I'm sure they see you as some form of competitor. They don't, unless they're making money. Why would I help you unless I'm making money off of you? Right? So this is one of those, and we see it in all of these sports at this. Why don't you, like the WNBA constantly calling out, like, why don't we get more attention? Until you can give us some form of data that shows us that people care, we won't talk about it. It's the same reason that we don't take phone calls. We don't talk about hockey. We don't do a ton of baseball. When people care, we'll talk about it. And look, we don't always hit. It's not always a home run. But in terms of volume of traffic, our job is to try and use all the data that we have previously, people who study it, and what they tell you you should probably be leading with and talking about then builds in your instincts, and then you lead with those instincts. Damian Lillard that's a big name. The NBA is still a big topic, more so than baseball that's right midseason. Shohei Ohtani having an incredible year and a contract year. I don't think it changes what his value is. I think his value is going to be higher than anybody else, but that's not really interesting to most people. I can't make people be interested in things they're not interested in. You have a 3-on-3 league for has-been former NBA players. It's a form of basketball that's hard to watch on TV. There's no brand association, no brand awareness with your players, and especially not with their team names. I've told people this about college kids forever. It's the same with the NBA. Those brand names are important. Think of the brands that have broken through in cars or TVs, right? when they broke through at first, you didn't take them seriously. You had no idea why you'd go in and you'd sit there and go, well, there's a Sony TV, and the Sony TV is $3,000. The Vizio is $500, and it looks like the exact same to me. I'm going with the Sony. Why? Because we all associate quality with brands. There's no brand awareness. I love basketball. I have watched the Big Three on TV. It can be a tough watch because it's just such a grab and hold game, and they're guys that you don't think are nearly at their peak. But more than anything, there is no brand awareness. I can't tell you a team, a playing style, an arena they play in, nothing. It is good, clean, fun summer entertainment within the niche that it falls in. But there's no grand conspiracy that I think Ice Cube believes is out there to keep the league down.
It's the same reason why we always talk about how big fantasy football is, but nobody wants to hear about what my team's doing in fantasy football or what Jason's team's doing, and nobody cares. And so we don't talk about that, right? I mean, you would think people would want to hear that. Oh, I wonder what their teams. Nobody cares what our personal team's doing, so we don't talk about it. And when we do, we make fun of the reason we're talking about it because nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's a topic that people genuinely care about, right? There's a way to talk about fantasy football. You just don't talk about your own team.
Your own team, yeah.
Right.
And also, what does the NBA get, Doug, out of the Big Three? Nothing. Even if they wanted to support them, what do they get? A chance that maybe one of those guys that already played in the NBA might want to come back? I
mean, Joe Johnson did that.
Yes,
Joe Johnson,
that's the one person. But everybody else is already done.
Correct. It's a weird argument. It's a weird rant.
And
when you say I don't want to work with the NBA, that's saying they don't want to work with you.
Yes.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
You would think that Ice Cube, being in show business for as long as he has, he doesn't understand that, like, if your product is good, people are going to find it. If your product is good, people are going to consume it. You can't blame anybody for a bad album. You can blame anyone for, Are We There Yet 5 not doing well at the box office. Like, you can't force people to watch.
Friday is a perfect example of it, right? Incredibly successful. I mean, all of his TV and movie success, whatever, is based around the fact that Friday was a gigantic hit for something that he wrote, that was, produced and directed for a very fraction of the normal amount that a movie would cost to make. So they made hundreds of millions of dollars on it. Right? And that movie is proof positive that you don't need CGI. It doesn't come down to the color of your actors. If you have a good, funny, fun script or whatever, if it's a good movie, people will watch. I've seen Friday at least 100 times. At least. But I think we're still in that victim culture mode, where everybody's a victim. It can't be that the Big Three this is what it is, right? It's a summer basketball league, and this is about it. NBA Summer League is going to be more important. And he even talked about it in his rant about how, Summer League used to be the thing, but Summer League's like you watch a couple of guys play and then you move on. No, that's the difference in our brand loyalty. We're loyal to the brand of the NBA. We're loyal to the brand of these teams in that even once you get deep into Summer League and those are guys that aren't going to play in the NBA next year, you kind of feel much more compelled to watch it because they're wearing the NBA's logo and their team's logo. I love his entrepreneurship. I love the idea of the Big Three. I don't know what the complaint is over. If it's everybody's working against you, if they're not starting their own league and they're working against you, it's just because they don't believe there's nothing in it for them. Like the one tried and true thing I can tell you from business is, no matter how much you want to be altruistic, you want to help others, I try and do the same. Most people at the end of the day are worrying about themselves. And a TV network, if they think they can make money on it, they will put it on TV. It's really that simple. Every answer for every question about TV is because they think they can make money. Why does that game start 5 minutes after, like 9:37? Because they think it helps their ratings go up, which makes them more money. That's it. and arguing about these invisible like barriers over your growth because of these unforeseen boys club that you're not into. Like, stop it, Ice Cube. Come on, man. I just think that's, for a really bright guy who's done some incredible stuff, that's at least a bit disingenuous. He makes it out like he's the victim of a grand mall conspiracy to keep his league down, and that couldn't be further from the case.
It's almost like there's a like he's probably lost a bunch of money on his own. He's lost a bunch of his own money, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And then he's got all these investors now. It's almost like he has to put on this. He has to come up with something that was the reason this failed, and put it out there as almost like a guise for his investors that are going to lose all the money too. Like this, you did not lose money because of the product. It was because something was there was a force that was causing it.
Well, there's a lot of things to it, right? I mean, the first thing is, and this is really hard for NBA players. Okay, I mean, I don't know how much money you make, but if you made a couple $1 million a year, so say you made $1.62 million. No, $1.82 million, which is very low end salary wise, right? But let's say like your last contract was 182 million dollars or whatever equals. It may even 860,000. Like the league minimum is somewhere between 4 and $1 million based upon how many league years you served. So let's say your last contract was $820,000, which would be bottom of the barrel in the league, right? So that means you're making, what is it, $10,000 a game? My math right?
Sounds right.
Okay. $82,000 would be $1,000 a game. $820,000 would be $10,000 a game. So again, if you're a fringe player in the NBA, that's your last salary. And oh yeah, by the way, you're making $820,000. You're getting $150 a day in per diem. You're staying at the best hotels in the world. Now, you're playing the big three, and you got to train all week. And maybe you're making $10,000 a week. Probably it's closer to $5,000 or $6,000 a week for a 3-on-3 game. And that's if you're a lot of these guys are former stars that made at least a couple $1 million to even more. Like, dude, I'm not getting up out of bed to go to practice when I'm going to make, $10,000, $5,000, $10,000 in a game. No, thanks. My body already hurts. No. So you're dealing with guys that have been overpaid most of their lives. Their bodies no longer cooperate. There's no reverence towards the league. There's no connection with the NBA. It's hard. And yes, I think that's probably a really smart point that you made, Jay Stu, is that some of it, I'm sure he gets angry about it. Some of it is he feels like he's losing money and people could help. But I'm sure a lot of it is you got to put on the tough guy face for all your investors and act like it's somebody else's fault.
I think the first point you made might be the reason why no one watches a product, and that's because it's 3-on-3 basketball. Like, it's a different basketball. It's a less exciting brand of basketball. Going out down to Laguna and watching the half court 3-on-3 is cool because you're in the sun and you get to, I don't know, watch something different. But okay, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it on TV.
I was just about to say, I think I'd rather watch my friends play 3-on-3.
You know what's funny about that? I was watching pickleball Friday. Friday we did the show. And I texted I have some buddies that they want to buy a pickleball team. And I was like, I got to tell you, it's just like watching lacrosse on TV. Lacrosse is a great game. You cannot watch it on TV. It is complete. I can't find the ball. I got nothing. And pickleball is super fun to play. It's taking over tennis clubs all over the United States. But there's a good portion of pickleball where you have 4 people lined up like within a couple of feet of the net, and they're hitting this tiny ball with these paddles so it's not going hard because it's a game about touch. That just doesn't translate to television. So it's like, well, why isn't pickleball? Because it's boring to watch on TV. Period.